We're back at JD Park. Today we're going to take the eco tour and then get a boat and do some fishing. Maybe we'll catch dinner. It's a pretty cardinal. But first, a short hike on the Kitchen Creek Trail, which is also stop number 7 on the auto tour. And off we go. There's some more pretty wildflowers. This is a turkey oak because the leaf looks like a turkey foot.
This buttressed furrowed trunk of the bald cypress rises out of the water and muck of this small creek.
This is an interactive trail, and there's markers along the way to help you learn more about the forest. We're veering off to Wilson Creek Nature Trail. There's a creek bed. Just because we're not seeing any wildlife doesn't mean that the wildlife isn't watching us. Bobcat, raccoon, deer could be standing over here watching us right now, and we don't see them. There's some pickerel. And this is Wilson Creek. And here's our boat.
There.
Off we go. Back on the Loxahatchee.
Trip upriver and back. We're at Dr. Carpernell. That's homestead about 3 miles upriver. When we dock there, we'll get off the boat and walk around the site. The ranger that's up there today, I think Scott's there again. He'll take you around the site and tell you all about Carpernell and how he lived out there. We don't have any restrooms on board the boat. There are restrooms at Carpernell. We do have life jackets. There are life here along the bank of the river with their viewing area. And get the alligator and turtle place in the water and sun themselves. The ospreys are migratory birds. Most of our migratory birds have left for the summer, but there's always a couple of ospreys around. Yeah. Florida is the only grow on high ground. This area. The other native palm is the soft palmetto. We'll see some of those further upriver. There's also another osprey nest up ahead of us.
Another osprey nest.
This is a peninsula cooter. They have high dome backs and yellow bellies. They're our most common turtle here along the river. That's the right you do.
Loxahatchee is designated a wild and scenic river. It was the first one in Florida.
Water there to the left.
Bald cypress. This is so pretty.
These are all leptophyte plants. They're not parasitic. They don't feed on the tree. They just use the tree as a base for gathering their own water and nutrients. Some of the bromeliads.
The bromeliad.
Mangrove snapper, sheephead, bullmaster. You also get freshwater fish like bass and brim, Florida gar, grass carp, and even freshwater eels. But most of the fish you'll see on the surface in the water is jumping are all the mollusks. Not more like fish.
Trapper Nelson's.
How was the trip? Trenton, New Jersey in 1908. He was born son of Polish immigrants, and he was a trapper by trade. came down to Florida in a boxcar with his brother and a friend of his. They had their original fish camp over by the Jupiter Lighthouse. Here himself to give the place more of a jungle feel for folks to come up and visit. Not native to here. And again, Trapper brought it up himself to give it a jungle feel out here. Grills Trapper Nelson had put in. He would actually have folks just like yourselves come up and have picnic lunches. He would charge them $0.25 to dock at that canoe dock over there, and he was able to make some money that way. Only $0.25. But the trick was every time you would double the size of the alligator, the price would go up 12 times. So a 6-foot gator you can get $3 for. A 12-foot gator it would go up to $36. River Out Chickadee Shelter comes from the Seminole word meaning home. And what Trapper Nelson would do to build all the structures here is he would chop down the slash pine trees and he'd whittle off the outer soft wood to get to the center heartwood, it's called, which are what these beams are made out of. He did have a gas-powered water pump in there, and he did have working showers and a working bathroom in here. And no electricity, though. There was Trapper's bedroom. Again, he didn't have any electricity. You can see the propane fixture on the beam up here. He did have propane lighting. That's his original bed. He was a big guy, 6'4", 240 pounds, so I think he might have slept in the fetal position on that bed. But he would keep his shotgun shells in the false bottom under the bed and keep his shotgun across the back. And Nelson had died here in 1968, and when the State Park Service took the property over, and there was rumors that he had money hidden out here. So you can imagine during that 2 years, everybody was looking for it. They pulled out a piece of the cement and just started pulling out handfuls of coins. There was just under $2,000 in small change hidden in the wall right behind the fireplace here. And there's a photo of the coins there. They're in a museum in Tallahassee now. You can see his Army photo at the bottom. He was stationed at Camp Murphy for 2 years. And Jonathon Dickinson State Park used to be a top-secret radar training facility during the last 2 years of World War II called Camp Murphy. Wild almonds, grapevines. He has a big pineapple patch out in the middle of the woods that's still out there. And it's neat to drive out here, as were people were able to drive out to come visit his zoo. He had a little MASH-style Army Jeep, which we actually still have in a garage around the corner. But the road caused a little bit of a feud between he and his neighbor in that the road went through a corner of the neighbor's property, and the neighbor was sick of people coming up and down the road, so the neighbor kept trying to block the road off on him. Chopped some trees down across the road one time, another time piled up a bunch of... It's really only a fraction of what used to be here, but apparently he used to chop a cord of wood a day for exercise. Just a little aside, does anybody know what kind of grasshopper that is? Tree. It's got these vines that come way down and these big huge flowers open up at night, and they're actually pollinated by bats in the wild. And they have these big sausage-like fruits that form, and the natives in Africa used to actually muddle it up and make a beer out of it. Upon making his new cabin, this was actually his original cabin. Once he made the new one, turned it into a guest cabin. You can actually stay in here for $8 a night.
Sleeps 4. It's a propane-powered refrigerator. Running water. There's a bathroom back here too.
Industrious guy, and he realized if he could entertain people, he can make some more money. So he put these snakes, and it was sort of a tradition. Folks would bring an extra sandwich for Trapper Nelson. He'd kind of walk around with a big old snake around his neck, eating sandwiches. He'd sell fruit in his fruit stand here. With the snake around his neck, he'd greet him with a shotgun and say, "Get off of my property." And he did remain friends with the DuBois family in Jupiter. He had an appointment with them, which he had missed, so they came to check on him, and they found him laying dead in that chickadee shelter over there, over by the picnic tables. He had a shotgun next to him. He had been shot. And they called in the investigators, and they actually concluded it was a self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the chest, which has been sort of a point of debate ever since. A lot of folks don't believe that's what happened. He had actually been dead for about 2 weeks before he was found. But as far as the land goes, he had left all the land to his sister, who died just before he did, and then the land went to her children.